Thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Tonight, we're joined by rising country music star. She's got multiple ACM award nominations already, and her latest album, Baytown, is surpassing over 100 million streams to date. Raylan, you only need one name because you're so cool. Thanks for joining us. We're excited to have you.
I feel so honored to be a part. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Look, what a sensation. I feel like you came on the scene, you just really showed up and people were like, man, Raylan's here. I read that at 15 years old, you already knew that you wanted music to be your career. That's sort of amazing because I got to tell you, even at 39, sometimes I'm like, what am I doing? You were really confident though at a young age. You knew you wanted to do music, right?
Yes, I graduated early from school. I graduated at 16 from high school, and then I wanted to graduate just really fast because I knew that I wanted to be an entertainer. I didn't know if that was in acting or in singing, but I knew in some kind of way that that's where just I was called to be. And so I started writing songs when I was 15 years old, and then I moved to LA for a year, which was crazy, to just kind of do the acting thing for a little bit because I graduated early. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just try it out here. Realized that really wasn't my scene. And so then I moved back to Texas and started going back and forth to Nashville at 16. And then there were some auditions for a little tiny show called The Voice. And I was like, you know what? I'll try it. I love Blake Shelton. And so then I auditioned for the show and made it on the show. And it's honestly, I always say it, when I look back at my career, it is just really crazy that I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew that this was the path that I wanted to follow. But honestly, it's been God's favor that I'm here today because not everybody's dreams come to light like mine did. But it's been a crazy fun journey for sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, you were, I think, 17, right, when you auditioned for The Voice, which, I mean, to be 17, you made it all the way to the quarterfinals. I assume, was that the biggest stage you'd ever performed on at that point?
Oh, yeah. I mean, before that, it was, at church in front of maybe 100 people. So that stage was definitely the biggest stage. It was the first time I ever played with a professional band because it was just my band from my hometown. And being with the voice band's, very different. But yeah, I remember my mom. So my mom's a pastor and my dad owns his own tire shop in Texas. And so I remember when I went out to audition, my mom goes, breathe, pray, and shake your shit, baby. And I was like, all right, I got this. And it was awesome. That's what I did.
Well, you did it. But I mean, you got eliminated in the quarterfinals, right? Were you worried at that point that that was it, or were you confident that even though I got eliminated on The Voice, there's going to be a future for me? I got a plan.
Well, first of all, I feel like no's only make you better. Either you let them break you down, or you keep moving on. And so when I was already going back and forth to Nashville, writing and trying to figure out what I wanted to do in country music. And it was just a stop along the journey for me. And so I always looked at The Voice as a promotion tool. And when I didn't win, I was, of course, because I'm very competitive. So of course I, got upset, but I did get to meet Justin Bieber. So I was excited about that. But anyways, I was sad, but I moved straight from Texas to Nashville and I just started working really hard. And honestly, I look back and I'm so thankful I didn't win because it made me put my boots on the ground and really work hard towards this goal of knowing that this is what I wanted. And I always knew that I wanted to be an artist and I wanted to sing and travel the world. But I really did know in that time that this is what I wanted to do. So
God, I love that attitude. I love that, you're saying that, yes, I did not make it all the way to the, the very end of The Voice, but you're right. I think for a lot of people, you always come to sort of a point in your life, a fork in the road of sorts, and you can decide how you want to respond to it. Either you get, depressed and say, well, I mean, I suck. Obviously, this is not the right thing for me. Or you pick yourself up and you learn from it and you go even harder. And that's what you did. And I mean, I think that's awesome. You must have been raised like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were all raised to be winners. I mean, all my family, none of them are, they're all entrepreneurs in their own way. And I think it's really important to train your kids to be that way. I always say with Daisy, I just want her to be tough. I want her to know that if she's told no, you can get back up and do it again. Like, that doesn't mean anything. If you have a passion to do something, you can make it happen just with hard work and so.
And so your daughter Daisy, she's going to be a year old in September. Is that right?
September 8th. It is here.
It's so crazy, right? These kids. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? You're about to have a 1-year-old?
I cannot believe it. Daisy is she just started clapping, which is the cutest thing. But she's just such a good kid. I honestly want to have like a bajillion kids now. I really do. My husband is one of 7. Like, his had 7 kids, same parents. Like me, I'm a love triangle kind of situation. But Josh, and so, but I've always heard that being a parent is the most rewarding thing ever. But really seeing Daisy and her just grow into this incredible personality, and she's only 1. Yeah. I just, now I understand when my mom and dad would cry when I would, play the Grand Ole Opry stage, or when I would get different opportunities. Sometimes I'd be like, Mom, stop it. But now I get it. I boohoo when Daisy learned how to clap. Or, she's smiling at the Minions movie. You're just so proud of them for anything that they do, and it's just. It really is a beautiful thing.
Well, get ready. I mean, there's a lot more. I can tell you, having 2 myself, there's a lot. It's the greatest thing I think you'll ever do. It's the toughest job, but the most important job that I've ever had. There's just no off switch. It's not like, you leave your job at the end of the day and you get to go home to your friends.
No, you don't.
It's happening.
Right when I get home, it's back to mommy duty. And you never really sleep. That's the thing I've realized too. Your sleep changes. Because the monitor's on. Even though you're sleeping, you're not really sleeping. You're in a constant state of yes, my eyes are closed, and yes, I'm technically asleep. The slightest noise, you could drive a dump truck through my bedroom, my husband would not wake up. There could be just a pin drop, and I'm I'm up. What does anybody need? It is crazy how that happens. I mean, that's obviously something innate. I feel like it really is
in moms, but girl, you're not sleeping for a long time. So
I know. Thank God for concealer. That's all I got.
Yeah, totally. But look, we were talking actually before we started this show about country music, about the country scene. And I told you something, and I want your take on it as somebody that lives in Nashville, somebody that's part of the country scene now. I feel like people in country music have been some of the most welcoming, kindest people, at least that my husband and I have had the chance to meet. What's it been like for you since you kind of came on the scene? How has it been meeting people in Nashville and on that scene?
Honestly, the reason why I love country music are the fans and the people. That's why I'm in it. I mean, I grew up very much loving Jesus, loving my country. My husband is a Green Beret, and so is my brother. And so I feel like the one thing that I love about country music is our appreciation for our values, but our appreciation for our country. And people are just very sweet. And I've been so lucky to have an incredible community of friends here, and it keeps me going in it. And I'm really thankful to hear you say that, because that's what I feel like the world should be about. We should always be sweet. It takes more effort to be rude than it does to just be kind. Totally. And I really do love this genre and the people in it and the fans. The fans are they're so incredible. And I love also too the music that you hear in country music. People talk about real issues, real things that they're going through. The songwriting's incredible, and it's what I was raised on. Every year I went to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo back in Texas, and I just fell in love with country music because of the things that artists were writing about and singing about, and just the heart behind the music. And it really is that here in Nashville. I mean, very rarely do you come across somebody that doesn't have that kind of heart. And if they do, people know about it, because everybody here, when you can meet Reba McEntire and Blake Shelton and Dolly Parton, and they have no ego and they are just as sweet and buttery and awesome as they are, on your screen, then why do we feel like we can have that ego? I always bring myself back to that, because some of the biggest stars in this industry are the most incredible, sweet people.
Oh, and that has been my experience too. I think it's so cool. You're talking about writing songs. You said, do you write your own songs?
Yes, I write all my own music. I've only released one song that I've written everything. Yes.
So Love Triangle, let me ask you about that song, because I think that you're exactly right. I think in country music, so much of what you hear comes straight from people's heart, from their experiences. That song, that is an incredible song.
Thank you.
Absolutely love it. Do you have people that come up to you and tell you, they must tell you this, that it's helped them kind of get through some of their own stuff? Because it's clearly that was your experience at some point.
It really has. I've had a lot of incredible stories come from Love Triangle, and especially I remember one girl was dealing with her husband. He had a bipolar issue, and she was just wondering if she could stay any longer. And her babies were littles at the time, and then she heard Love Triangle, and she was just like, in that moment, I was just like, okay, I can do this. Like, this is the father of my kids, and I'm sure that's a hard thing to have to walk through. But that's just one of a bajillion stories that I've heard. I remember I had this one girl walk up to me, and she's like, my parents never got a divorce, but they never got along. So I felt like I lived in a love triangle in my own home. And I'm so grateful for that song and many other songs that I've written, because I really feel like they've connected me with my fans in just a whole new way. And, but yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
It's so cool. It's just, you could go out there and there are so many artists who write songs that have a great beat or whatever it is, but to really touch people in that way, that must be a really, really special feeling. I can only imagine. What's happening with you now? Are you getting ready to tour more? Are you writing more music? What's going on?
So I'm gearing up for a new record that should be coming out next year. So I'm writing for that, and I'm doing some shows here and there, and have some cool, exciting things for this fall. But it's definitely a new season, juggling being a mama on the road, on a tour bus. Help me, Father. But it has been a wild, fun year. I was on tour earlier this year with Kane Brown, and so it's been really great. I feel like this has been a season of transition for me, and just figuring out this new pace of life as being somebody who's the CEO of their own company, and also being a mom and a wife and all of those things. But it's been a really beautiful season for me.
Well, as if your music career wasn't impressive enough, you made your film debut in A Nashville Christmas Carol on the Hallmark Channel. I gotta tell you something, the Hallmark Channel is like a staple, I feel like, in so many people's homes during the Christmas season. What was that like to be in that and be a part of that?
Honestly, I was so beyond nervous. The first person I called was my mother-in-law, because she watches Hallmark every single day during Christmas, and I was just like, hey. She was like, oh my God. But no, I loved being a part of that. Of course, anything Christmassy, I love Christmas. Christmas is my favorite holiday. So to be able to get in the Christmas spirit, the only thing that was hard for me is we shot the movie in September, and I was hot. We had to she was like, remember, act like you're cold. And I was like, and I'm like, I'm about to die. It was so hot. We shot it in Charlotte, but it was such a great just time. The cast was awesome. Sarah Evans was in the movie, and it was a blast. I remember, though, I had rehearsed that first line that I was the first line that I ever recorded on camera, and I rehearsed it so much, because it's all hurry up and wait. Like, I was supposed to shoot my lines at noon. I didn't do it till 8:00 that night. Oh. I remember it was so funny. I was literally so excited about my line that when I got to it, I just blurted it out, and the director came up to me and she was like, "Hey, maybe just breathe a little bit. I think we're just excited." Yeah, I was like super excited. Okay. So anyways, but then I, had a moment. I did my breathing and then I did a good job. But I remember just being so pumped for that first line.
Yeah, you're like an Olympic athlete that was training so much, and then you got your chance. Came out of the gate real hot. Oh, that's so funny. Well, I mean, we talked about your daughter Daisy, but your husband Josh, I just recently learned went into the Army. Is that right? Fairly recently. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so he joined the military about a year after we got married. So we've been married we just celebrated 7 years, and we get married young in the South. Okay, but yeah, so
I grew up in the South too. I know. Don't worry.
Wait, where did you grow up at?
North Carolina.
Oh my gosh, I love North Carolina. We spent a little time there. But yeah, he joined about a year after, and he is one of those people, he just always has this next goal, and he played for the Cubs organization for a little bit, and then when he got done with that, he was like, "You know what? I want to become a Green Beret." And I was like, "Do it." And he did it. My brother's in special ops as well, and it's definitely we're a very big military family. My brother-in-law is a Marine, and my grandfather fought in World War II, so it's just been a big part of our family. But I've been so proud of him. He's getting out, but I love him so much. My brother Jake met your father-in-law, and he was beyond sweet to him.
Oh, good. Well, yeah. I mean, a big thanks to your husband, everybody in your family that serves in the military. It is such an important thing to have great men and women who are willing to stand up and fight for our country and our values. And obviously, we're so grateful. But was it ever scary at any moment, knowing that your brother, your husband, people that you care about? Because I've had tons of my family in the military as well. Putting themselves in a position where something could happen.
I remember when Josh told me that he wanted to join, and I was just like, God, why did you call him to do it? I just was so sad because I missed out so much of my brother's life. My brother's my best friend, and he didn't get to go to my wedding, and there was almost 2 years where I didn't see him, and it was really hard for me. So when Josh wanted to join, I of course didn't understand it, but I of course respected him for wanting to be a part and to do it, and he did do it. And it was hard at times because it's like, it's the person you love. It's your whole world. And I honestly have so much respect for military spouses. That has been one of my goals in my career, is to be able to speak to them and to give them encouragement, because I know what it's like as a spouse and as a sister. And I think it's a community of people that need that support. Especially the ones that have littles. I can't imagine having a little or my husband missing the birth of our child. It really is a sacrifice that no one will ever know until you've been in it. And so I'm just so grateful that my family's safe, and I never will take for granted just the freedom that we have in this country. So.
Amen. Well, and by the way, I love that you bring up the military spouses. I remember when my father-in-law was in office, he really tried to focus on military spouses, because not only are you acting as a single parent for a lot of the time, because your other half is deployed or whatever it is in training, etc. But on top of that, because you move around so much, it's really hard for military spouses to find jobs, because a lot of people know, well, gosh, this person may only be with us for 9 months or 2 years or whatever it is that they're in that location. They have a really hard time keeping a job, and it's something that he really wanted to focus in on. We'll see if there's another crack taken at it if he gets back in office, but I'm not saying whether or not he would even run, Raylan. I'm just throwing it out there. But I love that he really took that to heart and focused on it, and I know Melania cared greatly about that as well. So
and we should care about them. I mean, just and another thing has been feeling connected in these communities. I mean, I remember it was hard for me to feel connected with other spouses in the military because I just didn't know where to even begin. You know, when Josh was stationed in Fayetteville, North Carolina for a little bit, and I remember
Fayetteville well.
Oh, you know Fayetteville.
Oh yeah.
It was interesting. He had like a little bro apartment, just chilling. Those are some of my favorite times of being married, is when I would literally be getting off the road, fly to go see him in Fayetteville in his 1-bedroom apartment behind this Target on Skybow Street. It was awesome though. It was just the best memories of being first married. I love it. But yeah, I think for me though is that continued support for them. I mean, they're going through so much, and they are a single parent, and they become so independent that when their spouses come back, they're like, who did I marry? You know what I mean? It's just like, well, you wanted us to be independent, and here we are. It really is. It's a beautiful, incredible thing, but I love that. I really appreciate your just doing all that for them. It really is amazing.
Absolutely. All right. So final question. You're the second person I'm asking this question to end the show. It will henceforth be known as the Adam Carolla question, because he's the one we started this with. Don't think, first answer, whatever comes to your mind. Would you ever, Raylan, run for political office? Why or why not?
Oh, God. Oh, my God. See, I don't know. I never say no to anything, because if God told me to do it and it was on my heart, I would probably do it. But honestly, too, I'm like literally one of the least. I'm so not politically correct in so many ways. So
I know another person like that, ironically.
What did you say?
But I know another person like that, as it turns out.
I know, but I will say I am thankful, though, that more people are getting into politics that you wouldn't think would be cut out for politics. Because you just need people that are fighting for our country and that are just calling out what's right in front of us. And I think that that's the most important thing that we can do, and do our own research. And it's just been, so I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes.
You're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying there's a chance.
You never know.
I might have too many TikTok videos of me dancing to make it out, to make it, to be in anything political. But hey, like you said, who cares at this point?
It is an interesting time. I think of that all the time too, because, social media has really only been on the scene for 15, 20 years, really, that most people are using it, and videos and photos and all that stuff. So it is interesting, because there will be a lot of people, I feel like, in the next 10 years who run for some major office that probably have a lot of TikTok videos like that. We'll see what happens. Maybe it's
I think it's hilarious. I saw some meme and I was dying laughing, and it said, I'm so thankful I was a teenager when flip phones were around. And I was like,
that was me.
I wasn't. I know. I was like,
lucky,
Laura.
I'm just squeaked out of that by the skin of my teeth, I'll tell you what. Man. But, well, listen, Raylan, you're so great. We really appreciate you coming on the show, but keep putting out the good vibes, because, I mean, you've got a lot of them going on. We're going to keep up with, obviously, everything you're doing. Good luck with all of it. And thank you for joining us here today on The Review.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, everybody at home, as always, thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here next time for more.
Yes.